Oh my gosh. It seems like almost an eternity since I've last seen you.
That part. Oh my God. I
Oh,
remember when we were so young.
I know. Yeah, I remember you used to have your afro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come
So
on, man. We're like 50 years into this kind of
yeah,
almost,
50. Yeah, yeah. And I loved to see just a week ago you guys celebrated the 49th of Prem coming to
Yeah,
LA.
man. Oh my God. It just takes me into another world when I think of that time, because
Uh-huh.
it happened so serendipitously for me personally
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of because I was kind of in that search mode, and I was trying yoga and meditation and metaphysics. For some reason, that spark piqued my interest at the time,
Uh-huh.
and I was in high school,
Oh,
and there
oh,
was
oh, really? Oh my gosh. Oh wow.
yeah, I was in summer school, and I used to smoke pot with my friends regularly after school. So I went over to the clubhouse we had. One of my friends, he lived in Cheviot Hills, and his garage, his parents let him turn the garage into a little pot house. So, I mean, just a hangout spot for us.
Yeah.
And I opened the garage and nobody was there. And I said, oh, well, since nobody's there, maybe I'll just try to sit and meditate because we had a big mandala tapestry on the wall and stuff. So I
Yeah.
sat there and I, I tried doing my so-called meditation, and I said, I'm not experiencing anything. I don't feel no self-realization, no God realization, no cosmic consciousness. So that really threw me off. So I just said, maybe I should pray. I felt like I needed to pray to the creator for my guru or my master.
Hmm.
Because I had read Paramahansa Yogananda's book. So that
Oh
kind
yeah,
of,
yeah. I was the
yeah,
same time. I was in
yeah,
high school reading that. Yeah.
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 That was that was kind of like really, that piqued my interest into like, well, maybe I have a guru, because he was in such, his whole sojourn was with searching for his master here and there. And I just did a little personal pranam, which we call pranam. I bowed before the omnipresence and I asked God for my teacher, my master, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And man, my friends walked into the garage, literally blew my mind. They said, John, you won't believe this. We just left these people and they're talking about a 13-year-old perfect master. And you couldn't not believe what happened. All this stuff. I said, I connected my own dots. I said, man, this is the answer to my prayer. Take me. So they took me to Alta Loma Terrace.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And
Oh.
I don't know how they found the place or anything. I don't even remember. They just dropped me off. And I just could not believe the atmosphere that I felt in that house.
Oh my gosh.
I was in
Wow.
awe. I was just in total awe. And then there was premies were sitting around like John Bergner and there's different premies who were there.
Yeah, my wife's, I mean, my brother's wife, Hunterleaf,
Oh,
was
Hanali, yeah, I
Hunterleaf.
know her.
Yeah.
She was like one of our first house mothers.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's amazing. I mean, I met Prem that day and I asked him, I said, I know I have a mission. He says, well, do you know your mission? I said, no. Then he said, what is it that you want? And I said, may I receive your perfect knowledge? We used to call it that, you remember?
Yeah.
And he said, yes. So I crashed on the floor in the living room that night. And the next morning, Charnon came out and asked everybody interested and took us into a little room and screened everybody. And I got to stay. And
Whoa.
the rest is history.
Who was in that room? Do you remember?
You know what? I only remember this one brother, but I can't remember his name, because for some reason I kept running into him at other programs, other festivals or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And so we had that connection.
Uh-huh.
But I can't remember his name now, I mean, it's been a few years. And
Yeah.
you know what? I don't even remember the day. I can't
Oh,
remember the actual day. because I know he didn't stay there that long. You know, I would like to talk to somebody and say, well, do you remember the day he went swimming? Because it was a day that he had went swimming and he came in with the entourage of, you know, Charnan, Baharji, Joan, and Gary Gerard, and, you know, everybody, and I think Sitaram also. And they all came in. And that was just what I kind of really remembered, that he had went swimming. I said, where is he now? And they said he went swimming. You know,
Uh-huh.
and he came walking in, you know, and everybody, for me, it was just like automatic. I just knew that this was the answer to my prayer, you know, something about his energy there, you know. I
Mhm.
just personally, I felt like I just recognized something, you know, and that recognition is still happening, you know,
Mhm.
for me personally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, because it's not just like once she recognized that's it, you know, it's like daily.
Yeah, yeah,
To me, it's
yeah.
like a discovery process of what's your
Uh-huh.
relationship with this person, or what's your relationship to you, bottom line.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I always like your Facebook posts because they always talk about breath. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
for me, you know, someone who talks about breath, I like them. I totally resonate because, you know, for me, you know, just think that the secret behind our breath, you know, Prem says we come in, we take our first breath, and then
Mhm,
when we die, we take our last breath, but then we have that whole life, you know, in
mhm.
between. And we breathe each moment, and yet most of humanity is totally oblivious to the power behind our breath. So when I see your post, it just makes me,
Mhm.
you know, one happy camper, you know. I
You know,
go ahead.
no, with this, you know what's amazing is just this pandemic is all really evolved around the breath. You know what I mean? It's like it's bringing attention to, you know what's happening? People are struggling breathing
Yeah, exactly.
during, they're like, now it's like this stuff is coming via breath. And it's kind of like, man, we have to really, man, it's just really blowing my mind. You know, it's just like kind of how, you know, the knowledge has enabled me to see things with such, you know, such a depth of clarity, you know, which allows, you know, just like the wisdom to really, you know, take fruition in some kind of way. Because it wasn't just like, I used to read books of wisdom and I used to be blown away because it just left me in awe. Like, what are they talking about? But
Mhm.
now it's not so much that. It's almost like, oh, I understand. I'm getting like little glimpses that are truly resonating with my being, with my understanding. And it's like, wow, this is what's happening, man. That's what
Yeah,
life is
yeah,
for.
yeah.
You know, it's for
Uh-huh.
this connection of dots, man. It's not like just, oh, what is this? What is that? What is this? What is this? I'm not in that what is happening mode so much, you know? And it's just so beautiful because you can really embrace life with a different, it's just a different way to see, you know? And I love it,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, I remember when the book, you know, "Be Here Now" came, you know, from
Oh, yeah.
Ram Dass, you know, and I read it. But to be honest, I had no idea what they were talking
I
about. You know,
know.
it was, you know, something that I wanted, you know, to
Hmm.
know, wanted to
Hmm.
experience, but
Hmm.
I had no clue.
Hmm.
And years later, that's part of my life. You know, be
Yeah.
here now. Now, you know what?
Right.
I totally reside. Even,
Yeah.
you know, with the Tao Te Ching, you know, I had it
Oh,
on my
yeah.
bookshelf, you know, for 40 years. You know, I read
Hmm.
the first chapter and that was
Hmm.
it. You know, that the rest I couldn't relate to. And during the shutdown, I thought, you know, I have this book on my bookshelf. I'm going to
Hmm.
put it back. I'm going to pick it up now, and I'm going to read it, and I'm going to digest it. So that's
Hmm.
what I did. And so on Facebook, I've been for the past 2 months. I put one of the chapter a day. You know, of what Lao Tzu said, and I
I
do
love Lao Tzu, man. I love
uh,
Lao Tzu. Oh
uh,
my God. He opened my eyes in such a way because he was one of the first books that I said, what is he talking about? The way that can be
yeah.
spoken, cannot be spoken. And that, it was just this. conundrum type of stuff that was going on. I was like, what is he? The paradoxes went way over my head. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, but it intrigued me to kind of go deeper, to just continue to say, what is he? I want to know what this man is talking about because I know this is wisdom, but I couldn't connect the dots. So
Uh-huh.
now I'm here and I'm listening. I do the same thing. I read different Lao Tzu, different every now and then when people post on Lao Tzu, I just completely it resonates totally because
Uh-huh.
that was one of the books that brought me into this fold of
Mhm.
like search.
Yeah. Yeah, recently, a friend of mine, David Schweitzer, who's I've known for about 50 years. He sent me a link about this Iranian scholar, and
Hmm.
this Iranian scholar, his whole thing is that Buddha and Lao Tzu were one and the same, and he was from Persia.
Wow.
Now, get this. So at that time, the
Hmm.
Persian Empire went all the way to China. And get
Hmm.
this, Afghanistan was part of Iran. Now, if you
Okay.
cross the border to Iran, they have these huge Buddhist temples. Remember that the Taliban, to try to destroy.
Sure.
Remember?
Yeah, I heard about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
God.
So get this. In the Iranian, this guy did a history, and in the Iranian, there was a king who got exiled. They didn't want to kill him, but so they exiled him. So
Hmm.
he went to China, and in China, he brought the knowledge, the wisdom that he had from Iran into China, and so
Hmm.
and in China they called him Lao Tzu.
Wow.
And get this. So eventually he left China. So and there
Hmm.
was a border between
Hmm.
China. I'm not sure what the next country was, but
Hmm.
then this is where that according to this guy, this Iranian, the
Hmm.
Tao Te Ching was written. So,
Wow.
when I read, I'll send you the documentary. And it
Okay.
totally, I mean, it just, you know, it it totally blew my mind. That
Yeah.
there's a possibility. And
Hmm.
history
Hmm.
says, that according to the Iranians in the Persian
Hmm.
Empire, that
Hmm.
that Buddha was
Hmm.
born in Iran and raised in Iran. And that whole story about him being a
Wow.
prince was
Yeah.
because he was a
Hmm.
king.
Hmm.
Before that, he was a prince and he became a
Hmm.
king.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny how we have this in common in terms of just our, personal search, because really, Lao Tzu was one of the ones that, for some reason, I think I was 16 or 17 when I read this book, and it was just called The
Mhm.
Way, and it says, uh, the Tao, the way, or something like that. And I went, oh, okay, because I was really interested in like metaphysics and stuff like that, and at that age, it just kind of like it always left these little, I don't know. Every time I read, I just got more hungry. I was just hungry to know. I was hungry, hungry, hungry. So I just said, man, these books were like great menus for me, but I wasn't getting full. You know what I mean? It was like,
Yeah.
wow, Tao Te Ching and Yi Ching and
Uh-huh.
all these, and Paramahansa Yogananda and different, all over, and just different quotes from Christ and Buddha and Krishna and Muhammad. All these little quotes that I was being kind of feeding my intellect, but it was like a delicious menu being described, and I was so hungry. I wasn't being fed,
Uh-huh.
until of course, then it just kind of like, to me, it all peaked when I finally met Miraji at that time, and it allowed me to have that personal connection to what was being said, and was like, wow, this is what they're talking about. This is what they're talking about. I just started connecting my dots, and it was
Uh-huh.
just like, man, I was having my own epiphanies left and right, I mean, it was left and right. This is what blew my mind. Before it was like, what are they talking about? And then it was all of a sudden my ahas were going, aha, aha, oh, oh, oh. And it was just, and it's never stopped till this day. I think I'm still having them, in my own way now,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's with the depth of a little bit of, I guess, notches underneath my belt. And since, because I've had my knocks around the world and this and that, I've had my ups and downs, and I've had my moments of consciousness and unconsciousness battling each other. And yet at this time, man, I'm really appreciating, I'm really in a moment of personal. I'd see how, I mean, how fortunate I am, basically. That's all it kind of
Mm-hmm.
boils down to, because I understand how valuable this breath
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
and that I can be in tune with it no matter what, all day, all day. It's like there. And
Uh-huh.
it's really a lot more to it than, it's like if I stay with it, that's being in sync with it has oh man, it has a world of its own. It
Mm-hmm.
really does.
Yeah.
I'm not always in sync, but it's become kind of like I I kind of want to say it's almost second nature, because I don't think I'm there yet, but it's become a practice to try to stay in tune and daily, even though I might be gone for a minute or whatever, but it's like what's important is always reminding, because I listen to Prem so much, and he says, what is important? You forget the thing that is most important to you. Every single, this is human nature. We forget the
Mhm.
most important, and we dwell on the trivial, trivial,
Yeah.
trivial, trivial.
Right.
What's the news saying? What's this man saying? What's this person saying? What this, and it's like, no, what's happening to you? What's happening with you? You
Mhm.
are alive. It's very simple. We make it complicated. I see that.
Yeah.
It's we don't, it's very simple. Our life just on a day to day. What? We're alive.
Mhm.
Embrace it.
Yeah.
This is everything.
And wouldn't you say, John, the way I look at it, in
Mhm.
the more you pay attention to something, it starts paying more attention to you. So
Yeah.
for me, I remember when I first started, meditating after
Hmm.
receiving knowledge, it
Hmm.
might take like 40 or 45 minutes or an hour to get in
Hmm.
sync. But then
Hmm.
gradually, over time, just day in and day out, when you close your eyes, it now is automatically there, and that's why I say the more you pay attention, the universe
Hmm.
starts paying attention to you. We don't have to
Yeah.
make that effort,
Yeah. Yeah.
that we did in years ago. And it's like with any craft, the more you
Hmm.
practice it, the better you
Hmm.
get, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're so fortunate that way, because we recognize the importance, and that importance, it grows. It never diminishes, and that's what I love about the wisdom around Prince when he talks and stuff, because I never tire. For me, I can hear it over and over and over and over, and it's not like I'm tired of hearing that. I've heard that, and I don't have this. It's more like, did I hear it before? Because all of a sudden it's almost like it's a new. I've heard it, but now I'm listening. So it's like listening has a very powerful
Mhm.
effect on a human being, and we're so fortunate.
And I think our perception, when our perception gets higher, we can
Hmm.
listen to the same things that Prem has spoken, but
Hmm.
because we're in a higher place, we go, oh, now I understand. Because the higher the higher you are, the more you're open to perceive. you know,
Yeah.
if most of humanity is perceiving this world right now through chaos, through the
Um,
shutdown. I think Mother Nature told us all, to go to our rooms and to think things over.
really, really.
You know, this is the first time ever we ever seen anything like this, right? At
Yeah.
least in my, you know,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm. Yeah, man. It's man. If we, it's kind of like this. We used to have the whole thing with you see the sign, the written what's being written on the walls or the signs on the walls or whatever. And this is like to me the same thing. Like nature saying, look, like really, we need to take a breath, break because we're destroying this beautiful planet, man. It's really the only one we that life like as we know exists. I mean, like really, I watch these. I'm really fascinated with the astral, physics and stuff that, all the stuff that's been, with the Voyager and all these um, uh, attempts that man has made to find life outside of Earth. And then I love when Prim says, "But look, I know where life is. It's right here."
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
we're looking in our backyard when it's right there, we're right here.
Uh-huh.
And I love that. It's just like I'm so grateful that to have, oh, excuse me.
Okay.
Um I don't know. I think I'm gonna just avoid it. But I'm just so grateful to have this little, I don't know, just this perspective. You know what I mean? Because it really is a perspective in the long run for me in terms of how I see things in life. It's not what other people are saying or that it's all about you is what Prem really reminds me. He said, look, this is about you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about you, and it's not selfish. It's not self-centered in that other sense of word, in the way that we've been taught. Oh, you're self-centered. No, not that way. I'm talking about it's about your life, your existence, and it's really important,
Hmm.
you know. And I'm just grateful to see it that way,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. One thing, I've been studying the last 3 or 4 years is the quantum field.
Mm-hmm.
That quantum field. Imagine there's a field of energy that exists beyond time and space, beyond all dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
beyond that scientists have calculated. Just think the universe. They say it's 10 to the 28th power.
Mm-hmm.
That's their mathematical. So we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about a Google, a huge number of universes. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started to think, okay, when I close my eyes and I meditate, and we go into the heavenly realms, what I'm beginning to see now, that's the quantum field. The quantum field exists in all dimensions, in all the universe. So we're connected to a power that exists everywhere in the seen and unseen worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
so when you said, look behind your breath,
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at something, that exists in all, in infinite
Yeah.
realms, and
Yeah.
you know to be honest, even still that blows my mind, and it's
Yeah. I,
and
I love it.
and it's so simple, right?
Yeah. It's like it makes the complicated simple, because it's when you just have an intellectual perspective of things, it just becomes more complicated to me. But when
Yeah.
but with this experience, it just has a way of threading all those little dots. It's just like saying, "Hey, man, it's a garland. Just put it around your neck and wear it. Don't worry
Uh-huh.
about why and how and who
Yeah.
and what." you know?
So, when Krishna reveals to Arjuna a light more brilliant than a billion suns, for me,
Right.
what's he
Mhm.
talking about? The quantum
Right.
field. You
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
So it's all. I mean, that's why scientists and mystics are both talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw this interview, which I should probably. I don't know if you ever heard of David Bohm. David Bohm he was a quantum physicist during the 30s, 40s, and 50s. He got blacklisted during the McCarthy era because
Oh
of
yeah,
his,
I've heard of him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So
Is his
so
name Bob? Borg? I thought it was. Borg or something.
Yeah, Bohm. David, I may be.
Oh,
Oh,
bomb. Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So,
yes.
so, so get this. In the 50s, there's a guy named Krishnamurti, which you probably
Hmm.
heard of.
Okay, of course,
And
yeah.
so Krishnamurti and his wife, David's wife, was
Hmm.
reading this book, and
Hmm.
she's kind of scratched her head and said, "Hey, David, this guy's talking about the same thing, but he's looking inside. He's seeing the observer and the observed inside, and you're looking outside." So then David scratches his head. Oh, that's interesting. So what started was like 25-year relationship where they would
Hmm.
dialogue,
Hmm.
a back and forth
Hmm.
between the external lab and the internal lab.
Hmm.
So I found it, quite fascinating, especially during this time, where science and the world of mystics are really, emerging, becoming closer
Yeah. Yeah.
together.
I think it's becoming closer because we have an understanding, not because, you know what I mean? Because there's
Yeah, yeah.
always arguments, but because of because of the knowledge that we have now, it does give you a certain depth of perception that no others reading or hearing about it or talking about it does. It's just a depth of perception that's personal, and it's enlightening, really. It's really good, like your own state of enlightenment type of thing. If I look at it, it's like, because I wouldn't have understood it before, because I've read books and I love theosophy and
Yeah.
theology and da 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 da.
Mhm.
But it's the connection, it's like it's your personal connection, it's your oneness with the understanding, and your oneness with what's being said about what it's talking about. And it's really personal, but at the
Mhm.
same time it's like, wow,
Yeah.
this is like, yeah, because they're talking, quantum physics and da 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 da, and quantum theories, and this is like stuff that mathematically is way over my head, but yet there's something I understand, just whatever I understand of it is, that's all that matters. It's not what everybody understands about this and that. It all boils down to what you understand and
Mhm.
how much you take from
Mhm.
these beautiful. It's beautiful. Life is amazing. It really is, because
Yeah.
there's so much knowledge out there,
Mhm.
and yet with this knowledge, this
Mhm.
is this is it, man. This is the one
Mhm.
missing piece of the puzzle for me personally.
Yeah. One thing, yeah, I saw you sent me that link to the that
The
that
peace
what
education.
yeah, that was incredible. I mean,
Oh my
oh my
God.
gosh, I could just see, when you guys were talking about just the passion, the joy, just
Mhm,
being a facilitator and seeing
mhm.
those people's lives change
Oh
before
my
your very
God.
eyes. I can only imagine, but I'm pretty good at intuition. I can
Mhm,
read. Yeah,
mhm,
you guys were definitely in a state of
mhm,
awe and respect. And,
mhm,
and what I liked is that people ask their own internal questions. That's
mhm,
what that
mhm,
it wasn't preaching, to
mhm,
people, but
mhm.
giving them,
No.
yeah, and I like that. So you were saying sometimes, so the a prisoner would go back to their cells, and then their all their roommates or their fellow prisoners would go around and ask what was going on. So that,
Yeah.
yeah, wow, that
It's a ricochet effect, dude, man. It's a, like, it's because they see you're in jail, man. Why are you smiling? Literally, kind of, you left out of here, you left, and then you come back with, these people are leaving, coming back after watching one little event or two, and some that are coming regularly. They glow. Literally, they have a glow on their face of gratitude that you just know their life is transforming right
yeah.
before your eyes. You get to watch people's lives being affected by the most incredible message they could have ever heard in their lifetime, and they recognize it. It's
Yeah.
not like you told them. It's nothing that we do. All we do is turn on a video of Prim's, you know, peace education. There's like 10, and we're really not so much involved. We're just like company. You know,
Yeah.
we're you
Uh-huh.
know, okay, we're staying focused while we listen, and we're enjoying what we're listening to as well. And then when you see others enjoying, oh my God, man, it's the most, it's phenomenal. It has a phenomenal effect on me personally. And then when you hear what they get from it, and you say, you don't even have knowledge. You know, I mean, in your conceptual way, you say, you're speaking like, you know, some of the things that they say, bro, is just mind-boggling. Because I did the transcript for the inmates, whatever they would write down their reflections of what they got from the video. Man, I would be in literal tears. I would have to go from their manuscript and kind of type it in so that it could be sent to Miraji, you know, so he could read it. And when I would read what they said, what they got from it, I was completely, man, I mean, it was one of the most amazing experience I've ever had because it was like, wow. You know, I mean, all I could be is in total gratitude that I understood what they were saying. And I felt like this is me saying this, even though it wasn't,
Mhm.
but I
Yeah.
connected. It resonates. You know, when that experience is happening for one person, it has a feeling it delivers a feeling. And the feeling is so beautiful, you know, just as a human being recognizing, you know, their self, you know, and you're recognizing, oh, you're like me, you're like me, you're like me. You know, it's not more, it's not you're this and you're that, and you're from this gang, you're from that gang, you did this, you did that. It's completely, that is nowhere in the picture. This
Mhm.
is, you're like me and I'm like you.
So
And
it's kind
all
of
you,
like that they have the awareness to walk in the other person's shoes, right? You know, to
right.
see that there's no difference whatsoever. You know,
Yeah.
regardless, you know, of the gangs or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
there's that thread that's tying us all
Mhm.
together. Wow, wow, that is so beautiful. Wow, yeah,
It is so amazing, dude. And you know, Prem came to the particular jail that I go, you know, well, we since the COVID, we've been, you know, quarantined. We're not able to go in. But we were going in every week to this Twin Towers. And Prem came to that particular one. And out of all the prisons, you know how many prisons there are in America? There's just so many. It's an industry. It's just a, you know, come on, billions, trillions of dollars. So it just so amazed me that he came to that one, even though we're only allowed 12 inmates. There's 6 pods, each pod having 150, you know, inmates per pod, A through F, there's 6 of them, and only the first 2 of each pod get to attend the peace education program.
oh my God, oh wow,
So you have to be thirsty or curious or something. So when people, what amazes me is when I walk in and then I see people already waiting. They see me and they hurry up and get dressed to get in line. You see the enthusiasm. That is such an amazing. They're waving at you like, you know, and you know, whatever. It's just something that they're ready. You can see the anticipation, you know,
hmm,
and it's so beautiful to watch, you know. I mean, and then when they do, then after the meeting, you know, it's not like they have to do anything, but they want to help put away the chairs because we have to set up tables and chairs and TVs and videos and all. They're like, oh, can I help you? Can I, you know, I mean, it's just like,
oh wow, wow,
yeah, it's just like, come on, man. You're watching, like, to me, it's just like I'm watching premies and I'm not, you know, they're not inmates no more. They all of a sudden they're like, oh, let me help you. You know,
yeah,
everybody's helping, and then they're coming up and just really when they say thank you, you know, it's from their heart, you know,
yeah,
and it just
wow,
has a weight, you know, because it's like making their day, you know, because it is a tough situation. It's not like it's amazing. I'm just completely blown away because when Prem came that day, they allowed 36 inmates to come. So we had a little room. We had what they call the exercise room, the recreation room, and we set it up because it was an enclosed area. And my particular duty was to walk the camera people in, escort the camera people in because they didn't know where to go and all this. And I was just told kind of really vaguely, okay, just sit here by the public parking lot and escort the premies in. And I'm like, which one? I don't know who's to look for or anything. It just so happened while I was sitting there, I said, how's this gonna work? Okay, I would see them with, suitcases of camera equipment or something, whatever. But it just so happened one premier walked out and his name was John Carlo. And I said, John. And he looked at me and I said, I must be waiting for you. He said, yes, 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 come on, come on. So it just so happened he had stayed at my house during a Long Beach event. So I knew him personally as a crew that does the camera. So I said, oh, then I found, so, kind of like, I was blown away. I said, okay, so it wasn't like, okay, look for John Carlos, there was nothing of that nature. Just sit here and
Yeah.
escort. And I said, who am I escorting in? I didn't have no idea, but that's how it kind of connected. You know how magical things
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then so my job was to just escort them in. And I couldn't help with the setup because I don't know anything about the technologies, the connections and all that. So I just sat, we put the chairs out and I sat in the front row. And there was supposed to be a meet and greet with Prem, right? So I was thinking I was missing out on something, I said, oh man, I wanted to be in the meet and greet, because I thought we were going to be able to meet. I haven't, shook his hand in a long time or whatever. It was just like, oh man, I would love to meet and just say, oh, thank you. Hi, how you doing? Or whatever.
Uh-huh.
But it just so happened that since I had to escort, I was sitting in that room and I was sitting in the front row. I said, oh, I want to sit here. Just thinking about myself, really. Then all of a sudden, man, out of the clear blue, I look to my left and Prem is standing at the door looking in. And our eyes met.
Oh my. Oh gosh.
It
Wow.
was an electric moment, dude. I swear I couldn't not believe, because it was all serendipitous. It was like all of a sudden I turn and he's looking inside, and I'm sitting right there in front. There's nobody else around, so we're looking at each other, and I'm like having my personal meet and greet to me. It was like, oh, well, I had my meet and greet.
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then I ended up sitting in the back because they wanted the people with questions to sit in the front. So I, of course, sat in the back. But it just so happened the angle that the other premies that were, part of the team, they had to sit behind Miraji while he was speaking to the inmates. But I sat behind the inmates. So I was like,
Oh
wait.
wow. 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 Okay.
So
Yeah.
I got face to face. And plus, it was very hard to hear. The venue wasn't really made for no, it's just stuff was happening. There was helicopters rolling around during the time. I don't know how they managed to block it out, but they did because I watched the video, and they were able to block out a lot of the disturbances that was happening on the external. But
Wow.
it's just like him saying, don't focus on those things, focus on what's being said,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I watched that video and I said, sometimes I listen, I'm going, man, he said that? I was there. I
Uh-huh.
was there. But he said this and he said that. And it just blows my mind how much you get from this. There's like this endless well of, it's like
Mhm.
infinite, it's like, what, you can keep digging in that well and get some more water and quench your thirst. You can quench your thirst. And it's you can quench your thirst for the rest of your life.
Oh,
How is your brother? I wanted to ask you because I remember you had a twin brother,
yeah,
John.
yeah. John, he is living
Mhm.
in the Netherlands
Oh, wow.
with his daughter, and
Uh-huh.
Honolulu is there. So yeah, John's
Oh,
doing great. You know, he's
and Hannah Lee, they're still together?
well, I don't know exactly what's going on, but
Oh,
they're
man.
they're
Yeah.
they're living together, you know. So
Okay.
so I don't pry into my brother's,
Oh,
personal
yeah, yeah.
affairs, but
Right, 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 right.
I talk to him almost every day.
Okay.
John, he's been doing a music just for a hobby. And as you know, I've been doing a lot of like poetry. So all my background music, my brother
Mhm.
writes.
Awesome.
It's the
Awesome.
first time in years,
Hmm.
where we
Yeah.
actually, working on, common goals, our
Hmm.
common hobby. We just,
Hmm.
you know, basically speak from the heart,
Right.
and the more, yeah, I wake up early every morning at 3:30 every morning,
Oh my God.
and as you know, I love to meditate. So
Okay. That's
that,
the best time.
yeah, that's my hobby, as you know,
Uh,
for me,
uh,
surfing,
mhm. Uh, you
meditation.
you still
Oh,
surf, dude? Wow.
when I'm around the ocean, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
I live 20 years ago. I lived 6 years in Maui, so I was riding waves as
Mm.
high as telephone poles in my 40.
Oh wow.
So
I lived in Hawaii. Yeah. The Big Island.
a big
Kona,
island. Okay,
Kona side. Yeah, where
on the
everybody
side.
used to come. Yeah.
Oh, that's why.
To the
Oh,
north
and you were
side.
friends with what's the Nina and oh, what's the guy's name? He knows you because I remember when I went and visited him. He said you know John Somerville.
Uh,
He used to live in Malibu. He died about 10 years ago. Oh,
oh,
and he was one of my brother's best friends. He was
not John Campbell.
no, not John Campbell.
You heard about him, huh?
Yeah, I heard about John. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, super. Wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So,
he was a good anyway. Yeah, there's like we're so fortunate we're still here, dude. Come on, man.
yeah,
We're dropping like flies.
uh, but fortunately, I've always taken, but when I was 18,
Mhm.
I believed in preventive medicine. What way I look at it, when I was
Yeah.
18, this is the only body you get, right? I don't know if
Right.
no one gets a trade in, right?
Right, right, right.
So at 18, I believed in preventative medicine. So that's why I got involved with meditation, with knowledge,
Mhm.
eating good food,
Right, right, right.
exercising.
Hmm.
So my body still feels like it's in its 40s,
And
so
you sound like it. You
uh-huh.
know, and I mean, it's just like, I mean, you can tell by a person's sense of being, it's not an age thing, it's like, it's really not because it's obvious we both have aged, as we've gotten older, but then it seems like your sense of being is just still that person that I met long time ago, whatever. Because I used to always remember because you guys were twins
Yeah,
and and your brother's name was John, so it was kind of like easy for me. But at that time, it seemed like my connection with all the people there was just genuine. It was just there was a lot of love happening in the atmosphere. So it wasn't like I had to know what you did or nothing of the background. It was just we had this one connection, and that connection has come on. It's rolled through all these
yeah,
years of
yeah,
ups and downs and rights and wrongs and goods and
uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing because as soon as you sat down, in your chair and started talking, it was just like yesterday.
Yeah.
We sat down and talked with one another, and that's the amazing thing. The more a person goes within, then with people you haven't seen in 50 years, it's just like yesterday.
Yeah,
Nothing. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my God. I love when I go to these programs and I see sometimes, because it's an international type of event, so I don't see everybody. And every now and then you see people you haven't seen since we were like teenagers.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like every now, because I've had a chance to go to Australia a few times, and I saw somebody I lived with when they first started, you know, like stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
I saw people that I even went to high school with or something,
Oh
and it
my
was like
gosh. Oh
they
wow.
happened to hear about, you know, whatever, because I was
Yeah.
enthusiastic back then. And it was so funny to, you know, just to share this little story with you. After I received knowledge at Altaloma Terrace, I was in summer school, and I had to go to summer school to make up some credits because I was too busy skipping out on classes to smoke pot. So anyway,
Uh-huh.
here I am. I'm in this sociology class or history. I think it was history class. And I have this one particular teacher, and he's like a hippie. He had a beard and long hair and stuff. And I'm like, he was the coolest teacher in, you know, at that time. It was the 70s. So it was like, I love this teacher because he talked about vegetarian stuff. And I was like, wow. And he's talked about he had smoked pot before. So it was like really a
Yeah, yeah,
connection.
yeah. Uh-huh.
So for some reason, the next day I went to the class and he said, I told him about what I had experienced. And he said, so you know what he did? He shut down that class. He said, you know what, class? This, you know, do you know this is John Somerville? Okay, whatever. I'd like for him to share his experience with you. So I
Oh my gosh.
so he shut
Wow.
down that whole hour just so that I could talk about what I had experienced. And later on, him and his wife, they received knowledge.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
I don't know where they are now, but still, they
Uh-huh.
did come. You know, I mean, during that time, it was a bit of fanaticism happening, so I'm sure they got kind of turned off. Or it's like some of us, some premies just got turned off by some of the radical, you
Yeah.
know, stuff that was happening at the time, the religion and da 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 da. You know, and I'm so grateful to have weathered that particular storm because it was pretty on the outside, you know, we were still on the outside trying
Hmm.
to look in. Now it's different, you know, we really have some kind of connection with the inside. So it gives us a, it's so different to look at life from this place. So
Hmm.
different, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on, man. It's night and day, literally. It really is. It
Uh,
just happens in moments. It's not like it's, you know, just where's your focus and then bring it back and then there you go.
mhm.
And it's like it becomes like this is your home. This is your home. This isn't your home. This is stuff I that's this is your home. And kind of like, come on, man, just get with it because we're only here for a short time.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about synchronicity. Just 2 days ago, I did a talk story with a dear friend named Peter Lingle. Now Peter Lingle and I, we were surfers, and so we traveled from France to India with
Mhm.
our surfboards.
Oh
And
wow.
to make a long story short, the very first day in India was the last day of the Hans Chianti Festival. This is in
Wow.
1971. Well,
Uh-huh.
we'll get this. So we crossed the border. We saw signs saying "Crush India, Crush Pakistan," because the war was about ready to begin, the Indian-Pakistan War. We took a
Mhm.
train to Delhi, and
Mhm.
we always heard that the Sikhs allow you to stay at their temples. Well, we went to the main temple, and they said, "No, yeah, you can't stay here." But there's a festival going down on the block, and
Mhm.
this was, Maraji just returned from the West. So there's a
Okay.
million people out there. So
Mhm.
we went to the festival grounds, and the very
Mhm.
first person that I met was Guy Nuri, Michael Nuri's brother. So
Oh wow.
get this.
Mhm.
During that day, in the morning, I had a talk story with Peter Lingo, and then in
Mhm.
the afternoon, I had a talk story with Guy Nuri. Now, I haven't
Okay.
talked to Guy in 49 years. So
Mhm.
it was just, just absolutely phenomenal. So,
Yeah,
and
Michael, yeah, go ahead.
And it's the same with you. I haven't talked to you, in years.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. And it's
Huh.
just, and I'm so glad. Because first of when I got your email or your message, I was like, I wonder what this is about. And da da da. And I don't know what you're, into these days. You know what I mean? I said,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I was just, it turned out better than I even thought in terms of, I had ideas of, I hope it's not, I hope it's really, something that we can share in terms of, because I didn't know if you were still, I figured you were into Prem still, but I mean, we're all at different levels of whatever, we have our life and,
Hmm.
and I don't know how connected you've been and stuff. And it's just so beautiful to know, that,
Hmm.
man, we're we're the fortunate ones, man. All you do is remind me of my own fortune. When I look at you, I say, look, man, we're here
Hmm.
after
Yeah.
all these years,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah. Well, that knowledge session. Imagine this. So I was in Premnagar, uh,
Hmm.
and then I attended the very first knowledge session in Premnagar for when
Wow.
Raji was came back. So
Hmm.
upstairs, you could hear while Guru Charan was giving us revealing knowledge, and you could
Hmm.
hear Maraji playing upstairs,
Hmm.
and so, but what that the day I received knowledge, to be honest, I've never had anything, even to this day. That was the most powerful experience that I have ever had, so even years later, I each time I remember it,
Yeah.
that is the glue, that it showed me, that that experience is real. It exists inside, and we take baby steps. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's how we learn and grow
Hmm.
along the way. So
Hmm.
life will throw us curveballs.
Hmm.
At times we'll strike out. At times we'll
Hmm.
hit a home run. But we're in this game called life.
Hmm. You're right. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is, we're just the most fortunate to have grasped some kind of self-discovery out of this. It's not just a trip, it's not, it's definitely not a cult and this
Mhm.
and all this other stuff that I used to kind of like be confronted with in the beginning. It's like, oh, this is a cult, da, 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 and now it's just like, man, no way, it's not a cult because it's about you. It's not
Mhm.
about this,
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Exactly. Exactly.
that's just kind of like my own personal, epiphany now. It's just like, man, it's about me, it's about, my understanding. It's the quality of life that what do I want, and
Hmm.
just that it's that one pointedness that I feel like Miraji's just trying to give us that reminder that it's just this one point, that you have to get, and it's there. It's just, but it takes practice. And this practice does work. And the more you practice, the better it gets. And
Hmm.
that's what blows my mind. How does it get better? How does he even get better? It's just like he's like every time I listen to him, I say, man, you
Yeah.
cover every base.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's like it's like how does it's amazing. Yet I've heard it, yet I'm hearing it a different way, and I'm hearing this just my personal experiences. Just I'm so blown away. I'm just grateful that I have this, this enthusiasm still, and it doesn't get old, and I'm enjoying, and I'm enjoying just like you say, the practice. Come on, because
Mhm.
I'm like I've gotten back into practicing twice a day. I was just doing it once a day because he said, "Oh, it's just an hour. You just need to do it." So I decided for some reason it was just I don't care if I have to wake up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. If like say I fall asleep watching TV or whatever, once I wake up, and I just sometimes I have to struggle with doing it because I'd rather sleep or whatever. But once I do it, I sleep even better. So it's like,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on, man.
exactly. Yeah.
And 3 and 4 in the morning, this is why I can relate to you because it is a very quiet, auspicious time to focus
Mhm.
because it's amazing how much noise happens in your environment during the day that isn't there around that time.
Yeah, yeah,
And,
exactly.
it's just really much more quieter. And for me, it just seems like as if there's a reason why that time is the way it is, because especially when you focus, it really gives it reason. You know what I mean? It's almost like, wow,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's definitely uh this is the most incredible experience we have. And I'm just grateful to have that
Mhm.
understanding,
Yeah.
it's an understanding, you know.
For the last 3 years too, I tried meditating during my sleep.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I try to fall asleep in the holy name
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, come
yeah,
on.
yeah,
It's a doable thing. It's not like this is not doable, but
exactly.
it does take practice.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not like,
definitely. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
you remember? I remember probably back then that they say the hardest thing to master in the universe is your mind.
yeah,
And the older I get, that's absolute true. But it's just like water. Like in the Tao, just one drop of water. It's just one drop. Over and over and over and over. It will. It can go through anything, including stones. So
yeah,
that's
yeah. It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful that we have that connection too, because it's like we're at a period of time, to me, like we're recognizing the value of the breath.
Yeah, yeah,
Where we can appreciate each other on that appreciation, because it's like,
yeah,
how
yeah.
many people even appreciate that? How
Hmm.
many people you talk to get it?
Yeah.
I mean, like we've gotten it, and we're like getting it more. It's like, man, this is the most incredible thing in the universe.
Yeah.
Literally.
Uh-huh.
Not just because you're, oh yeah, I'm breathing today. I can say, happy birthday to you, whatever this, but man, every day is your birthday.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. In the
it's just,
last 4 years, I've probably written 100 poems just on the breath. You
oh
know,
man, it's
and so each time, I read, John Somerville,
mhm,
the breath. I go, yeah, we're
mhm.
in the same wavelength.
you know, we're man, this is this is this is our moment. Like he says, this is
Huh.
our time,
Yeah.
and I feel like it I can't wish for anything more than my own personal gratitude to grow on
Mhm.
a daily basis, and I know how it works because it's not just a bunch of words. I love you, I thank you, and all this. It's a feeling, and the feeling comes from that experience. It really, and it kind of has a way of reflecting with other people. It has a way of, touching other people. I love that.
Uh-huh. So we probably graduated from high school around the same. I graduated in '71. How about you?
Yeah,
71.
71.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
Hamilton High. I went to
Okay.
Hamilton.
I was
Yeah.
Newport Harbor High. I was in
Uh,
Orange County. You were in LA
okay.
County.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was. Do
Yeah.
you know Randy Martyr?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I know Randy. Yeah.
Yeah, Randy's a friend of mine that I actually introduced him at that time with enthusiasm. I said, some kind of way, I said, do you want to meet the Lord or something? But he received knowledge. And I'm in correspondence. He lives in Colorado now,
Yeah,
Colorado
yeah. I see him
Springs.
on Facebook. Yep, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, it's really funny how we became friends from, we used to hang out at the same park after high school. And we became friends smoking pot at the time. And uh, I mean, we slept over each other's house and we went, next thing I know, we were just, we just had a connection. And he became a preemie and I was a preemie. And we ended up having a correspondence. I ended up living with him at one point, him and his wife and baby in Santa Monica. I was just kind of like I was an aspirant ashram type person at that time. So his house was kind of like an aspirant house for me personally. And then we all went our separate ways, like we, in life. But I ran into him again at another program because he kind of got turned off by premies for a while. He did a
Mm,
10-year type hiatus, and then all of a sudden he came back into the fold, and we both ended up in Amaru, and that kind of like reestablished his personal connection again. And now he's doing PEP, Peace Education Program with his wife. His wife was completely out of the loop, and she one time, all of a sudden, went for the first time to Amaru. He paid for her. She wasn't even practicing. She was just, he was just having a hard time with her on that.
mm.
Then all of a sudden, she went to Amaru and she got her own personal connection. Now she's like a facilitator for the piece on Zoom.
Yeah.
There, they do it via Zoom, and so it's just like, oh man, I'm just so blown away at the magic, because it doesn't, it's just a moment, it's just like you can look at things. There's so much we go through and everything, but then what really matters for me, what it really boils down to, it's moments like this, really, to have a conversation with somebody that has that personal connection, that loves that personal connection, and you can vibe on that. You can, come on. This
Yeah.
made my day, man. I didn't have no idea it was going to make my day.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of felt you was, when I send things out, that people are kind of leery. Well,
Yeah, what does he want?
what's this
What
going
is
to be
he?
about?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a whole Zoom people, a lot of people, but I
Oh,
didn't know,
uh-huh.
because it's new to me. So
Yeah. So,
I'm
and
glad
this
I
is
got my
why,
computer.
yeah. That's
Yeah,
why I call this talk story. It's a
mhm,
slang word, for talk
right.
story. Remember, so this is, conversations,
Yeah, yeah,
and conversations in a way where it's personal. One. I'm just sharing. That's
yeah,
what
yeah,
this is all about.
yeah,
Sharing our love for life.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's that's the most amazing thing, period. I have to admit, come on. I mean, because I talk about a lot of different things, but I don't get the joy out of talking about a lot of different things the way I do about this.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
so special to me, and I'm just so grateful to feel that way. Not just, it's not just a conceptual thing. I feel this way, and I get a lot from it. It's like a feeling that's genuine. It's kind of like it revitalizes me, as an entity, on this planet, because it's like,
Mm.
because there's so much bullshit to talk about, man. I
Yeah.
mean, come
Exactly.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
The gamut is ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, woo,
Yeah.
and I have friends that don't have this experience, and what we talk about is way nothing about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
so
just,
that's why I I'm kind of sad at the state of affairs in the world, but also
mm,
I have great hope. I know
mhm,
that this seed has been planted
mm,
thousands of years ago.
mm,
Peace will happen when everybody
mm,
in this world realizes that peace exists inside. So
right,
it's going to take time. It's
mm,
embedded into the unconscious of
mm,
man. To discover their true nature. I call this almost like a video game of life.
mm,
Through a video game, how would it be, let's say, if you had no obstacles and we wanted
mm,
peace, and we just went through from darkness to light just in
mm,
1 second?
right,
Here's a funny story. When I was in India, and I was in Bombay, and
mm,
Raji, I asked them, Raji, are we going to make it to South Africa? Because we're going from Bombay, Kenya, and then go from Kenya to South Africa. So Raji said, yeah, but you're going to have a hell of a lot of adventures along the way. And then about 6 months ago, I thought, how come, Raji didn't say, well, why don't you just take, a plane from Bombay to South Africa? And then a voice came to me and says, it wouldn't be an adventure, would it?
Along the way.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, come on, man.
yeah.
Your recognition is just that's the beauty of knowing him or just having this relationship with him because it's like no matter how long, there's always something that you can get. There's this growth of understanding that's just it's like communication finally it's like as if it's been said but then all of a sudden it has to travel, it has to bounce off of this atom, that atom, that atom, and then finally it gets to you and you're like you're focused enough that you receive it, because it's about accepting,
Yeah,
bottom
yeah,
line. I see
yeah.
how much of this is what you accept in life, because even with the bad things, I mean, it's not definitely, it is about what we accept or what we empower and how our life is just really just this one story, it is an amazing thing that's happening.
Mhm,
And it's very, it's, oh my God, it's brand new every day. It really is,
mhm,
and how we juggle our little cards of or our balls or whatever comes our way. It's really up to us, man. It's so much, and I
mhm.
I know I can say it better than maybe do it, but I'm in that process.
Yeah.
I'm still in a growth process with juggling, all my so-called things. But I say, but Prim's the only one that reminds me. He said, look, what do you want to juggle? Do you want to be a juggler or do you want to be focused? Or do you want to experience the joy? Because it becomes like where the habit of juggling has become such that sometimes I forget, hey, there's joy too. You can be
Mhm.
juggling peace, love, happiness. This is what you want.
Yeah.
you know. Now those other things you're trying to juggle is not what you really want, nor do you need it. It's just like, what do you need?
Uh-huh.
He makes the importance of, to me, this is what I feel that I'm getting so much. It's like learning to discern what you need from what you want,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not. It's a daily process. It's not just something that it happens just like that. It's just like maybe you'll do it like you say, 2 step forward, 2 step back, whatever. But as long as you're making an effort, there's a ton of grace, like he
Mhm.
says. It really
Yeah.
is. And I can vouch for that personally. My
Mhm.
life has been nothing
Yeah.
but the grace. I remember we used to say grace a lot. We say grace, by the grace, by the grace. Now, you don't have to say it. This is
Yeah.
this is it,
This is yeah. This is yeah. Because I began to see like humanity. We are all of us are our own master chemist, and scientists are even beginning to realize this. I remember a couple weeks ago during the lockdown session where Prem was saying, he says to the people in prison, he says, just think, you know you're just 1 second of performing an action without hesitating, you are now in prison. And so while in prison, now you can spend time 24 hours a day thinking about what you did. And and now he said, how would you like to learn of how next time if a circumstance like that comes into your life, you hesitate just even for a fraction of a second. By that hesitation, you will not act upon what you are feeling or experiencing. So it's like when Buddha says that anger is drinking your own poison, where scientists now
Yeah.
that they can actually monitor that they say there's 1,500 chemicals gets released, whether you like it or not, as soon as anger happens. But by hesitating and feeling gratitude, 1,500 positive chemicals gets released. And so then when you concentrate on your breath, then moment by moment by moment, you're releasing these positive chemicals, kindness, compassion, patience, tolerance, into your bloodstream. So we're actually learning how to rewire our brain. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
We're on the same page, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what blows my mind about this, because it's like I didn't have any idea how much I would have in common with you. You know what I mean? You know how we want to have things in common with people if we're talking.
Yeah.
And I'm just totally, come on. It's just like we're 100% or something, or whatever. It's just like everything you said, even when you mentioned Lao Tzu, or it's just the whole conversation period has had a very fulfilling feeling for me. It's fulfilled a lot of my personal social needs, because we're social people, and I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
to talk just like you,
yeah,
but
yeah,
to talk about this is really special. you know 'Cause come on, we know we could talk.
yeah,
I could talk about things that have nothing to do with it's just psychobabble. That's what I
yeah,
call it.
yeah.
And I've even I even have experiences with that, with people that I have friends or acquaintances that are on drugs, and they're talking to themselves, and I'm going, the psychobabble, and it kind of annoys me, but that's because I empowered it to a certain extent. It's like, why are you listening to that? No, come on. So I
Mhm.
have to refocus, and this is the only thing that's grounded me, man, because otherwise I would be caught up in the whirlwind of a lot of people's individual psychobabble. To me, it's like,
Mhm.
that's all they know. That's all they know. Thank God that's not all I know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is why I'm doing these sessions. I
Yeah.
wrote a book, as you said, Family and Friends. And in my very first paragraph, I said, no man is an island. All of us, we have our mentors, family, and friends, which help shape us of who we are today. So, and I think, telling stories is kind of like almost like a lost art, in terms of
Yeah.
how many times to say in the past year have we had deep conversations like this?
Mhm.
Probably
Yeah.
not too many.
But listen, this is the only one for me personally in this year. I mean, not to say that, I've had conversations that, but not this long, and not this in depth.
Yeah.
It's just be like, moments of, like I have a couple pretty friends that we have this moments that we're exchanging with each other. And, but it's not in that length of time. It's just like, to me, it's like we're having a reunion,
Yeah,
old
exactly.
class reunion,
Yeah.
and we're catching up on things, and it's like, man, I feel this is incredible. I,
Hmm.
I never would have thought. Who would have thought? This is the way I look at it. Who would have thought
Uh-huh.
a
Yes, well,
talk with Richard Fletcher would be so blissful? I
uh-huh.
didn't know. I always thought you were blissful, though. You and your brother, we always had this smile with each other. So I felt the rapport that was genuine. But I didn't know who you guys were. Come on, I didn't know who I was. So it's just different now. You know what I
Exactly. Yeah.
mean?
So I plan to have conversations, hopefully, with Kali Rodriguez and Kathleen
uh,
Cook. Cookie. I don't know if you know
uh,
them.
I remember Cookie. but
Okay.
I can't remember the faces and stuff now.
Okay.
A lot
Well,
of Craneys I know by face. Yeah.
they were my traveling partners from
Mm-hmm.
going from Kenya
Mm-hmm.
to South Africa. So
Mm-hmm.
we were the ones, like we went to Zambia, and
Mm-hmm.
they would take we went to this. Actually, we were hitchhiking, got out of the car, met this guy named Gary. His uncle was president of the national TV in Zambia. So
Oh
his
wow.
uncle hears about us, so he puts us
Mm-hmm.
on TV.
Oh
So
wow.
we then talked about a knowledge and talked
Mm-hmm.
about Meraji. So then
Mm-hmm.
all the Indian community heard about us, and
Uh-huh.
they got flooded with hundreds of phone calls, and they said, because of what happened, we want you to come back the
Oh wow.
other night. So
Mm-hmm.
we came back the next night, and then
Mm-hmm.
the Indians got totally blown away. So anyway, to make a long story short, imagine going into a Hindu temple. They took down Krishna's picture and put up Meraji's picture. So and then we made it to South Africa, and then Raji came, and then that was a whole another adventure.
Oh
So
wow.
so
So he came from that, huh?
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Uh, so now I'm what I'm trying to do is earmark, go back to all my family and friends, anybody
Mm-hmm.
who helped influence me, so
Mm-hmm.
to have conversations like that.
Um,
Yeah.
awesome, awesome. Richard, you know what? It's so funny because I've seen your post and I would say, I remembered you direct. I didn't know if you had remembered me. So I was like, it was like you would talk about different individuals and your whole, uh, what you had to say about different people. And then a thought came to me. I said, I wonder if he knows me because I'm surprised he hasn't said it. I mean, my ego, whatever. And then when you did this, I said, oh, okay, so he does kind of remember me or whatever. I mean, in that way. I mean, come on, I was the only one with a big old afro around, besides John Bergener or whatever. So,
I wrote about you in Family and Friends. I
okay.
wrote about how John was one of the most friendliest people I ever met. I said he always had a smile on his face. And I said, a person like that loves to meditate. Let's put it
Yeah.
this way.
Mhm.
Someone who loves to meditate, they can recognize another person who loves it. You can't hide it. So yeah, you're in. I put you in the section under New York because that's where I knew you most. I
Okay.
met you in L.A. originally, and
Yeah.
then years later in New York. So
Yeah.
yeah.
New York, man, what a great experience in New York, though. Come
Oh my
on.
gosh! Oh yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
It was the energy was so great, man. I mean, just period, because of well, at that time, satsang was happening every night and this and that and this location, that location. And it was just, the energy was just incredible.
Mhm.
It was. No matter, you can be drained from the whole day and get recharged
Yeah.
once you came together. It just seemed like I was just, no matter what, I'd be drained from whatever I did the whole day. And then when I got there, the opportunities to focus on what was really important
Mhm.
took place. And it was like, this is it. This is the joy. This is the joy that I'm missing. This is what I want.
Yeah.
It's kind of like reminds you, what do you want? Come on.
Yeah.
What do you want in life, man? This
Well,
is
that's why when you say missing satsang, that's why I write every day, because I get
yeah.
I get into that state.
Mhm.
Like when we're given satsang, it's like you're riding that wave. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
words to describe that, but
Mm-mm.
it's like the universe is speaking through you.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no words to describe that, and to be honest, I kind of miss that. So that's why I have been writing for 4 years now. Just, so I wake up in the morning, meditate, then
Mhm.
after meditation, I get on my computer, and then
Mhm.
I'm already in, I don't have to translate it to get into that. I'm already in that place. And then
Mhm.
just whatever comes to me. Because I've written in the last 4 years 25 books.
Wow.
Yeah. You know,
Awesome.
I did like book on meditation, conscious politics. Conscious
Mhm.
politics is for me is a ruler or statesman who comes from love, patience, tolerance. All those qualities that exist. That's how we should roll. Not through
Mhm.
egotistical, not through boasting, pointing
Mhm.
fingers, putting people
Right.
down, but the basic humanness, and that's
Right.
coming. And so then right now I'm writing a book on the
Mhm.
physics of spirituality.
Mhm.
I'm going in how the quantum energy exists everywhere, and so basically I'm writing a book on that. So I'm
Mhm.
getting quotations from David Bohm and physicists, and
Mhm.
then did one on quotes.
Mhm.
So I have everyone from Kabir to Rumi. Then I have
Mhm.
contemporary, and so I have a whole series of quotes from Prem. So
Mhm.
and it's gonna take me 2 years because that's how many quotes I have.
Oh, wow.
So I started with Kabir, and
Mm.
Brahmanan, and now
Mm.
I'm into Sufi, so I'm doing Rumi,
Mm.
but then I have Buddhist quotes, then I have Jewish quotes
Mm.
and Jainism. I wrote a book on nonviolence,
Mm.
for the Jains. So I went
Mm.
into their whole incredible society, and they've been meditating literally for thousands of years. So I studied their meditation technique. They have an old school and a new school, and how progressive, that they are.
Mm.
Martin Luther King and Gandhi got their principles of nonviolence, and then
Yeah, because they they sweep backwards and stuff. They were made. Jane really opened my eyes to another way of seeing life too, and in terms of just the compassion,
yeah, oh
that
yeah,
they and the respect. It was amazing. They say they don't want to step on an ant and da 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 da. Because when I lived in Hawaii, I remember reading something like that, and I said, ahimsa, that's what they
oh yeah,
call it.
IMSA, yeah.
Yeah, it was like tried in my own way, but it was just kind of hard because I lived in nature and there was ants and everything around, and they even made a path that you had to go. And found myself going around it rather than stepping on them,
Uh-huh.
based on the fact that that kind of consciousness had kind of entered my perspective at that time. It was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're living beings too. We're all connected, and trying to kind of having that feeling of like, how delicate life is, how fragile it is. And this is what
Mhm.
I really appreciate about Prem to me today, is just the way he points out the fragility of our existence.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. It's just like how we take things for granted and how
Mhm.
much we just overlook, what is important. Like he's saying, just
Mhm.
this is your life.
Mhm.
This is your moment. This is this is really all you got.
Yeah.
You think you got all these other things.
Uh-huh.
And if yet bottom line, without this, he always brings it back. It's just like we're like, we have a tendency to wander here, wander there, with our, thoughts and, our senses and everything. We're so sense gratifying oriented type people, and we're so thought oriented type individuals, and then when I listen to the message, it always hones in. It just
Mhm.
helps me to hone in on what's really happening, and that's my life. It is this
Mhm.
breath. It is this
Yeah.
moment. It's just consciousness that I can gather. I can gather every day, and the more I do it, the better
Yeah.
I can become, at doing it. It's a win-win. It really is.
Yeah.
When you look at life, it's like no other thing is such a win-win as this.
Right.
You know, come on, this is it. You know, I mean, for me personally,
Yeah, for
I'm
the
glad that
Jane.
I can brag on that. I feel like I can brag on this is a win-win. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for the Janes, for example, on the book on nonviolence, I, have now, I just finished, but I posted my entire book day by day. So it took
Mhm.
about 2 months. So they were kind of blown away that a Westerner
Mhm.
had just the, what's that? Just the decency to actually to look into their belief systems, and
Mhm.
they were quite frankly, kind of taken back in terms of
Mhm.
reverence, because
Mhm.
I had high respect, for their
Mhm.
civilization, for their
Mhm.
belief, because it's the same belief system we have.
Yeah.
Not nonviolence, patience,
Yeah.
tolerance, kindness,
Yeah.
everything, that
Mhm.
that experience inside represents and is. So they were just real, thankful to, that someone from the West, because there were, most of them all are in India.
Mhm.
There's only like less than 0.1% of the population of India is Jain. So
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I think what's amazing about our experience is it has that universal quality to it,
exactly,
and
exactly.
it is, and it kind of like, it definitely goes beyond the boundaries that people we are all taught with boundaries, and just a conceptual network, and the conceptual network has has divided us so much. And this is the only thing that I know that when I listen, it just goes beyond boundaries.
Hmm.
It goes beyond
Yeah,
your concepts. And it's just like, now, it just really points to, what are you feeling more than anything? What are you really, no matter what you believe, what you think, but what are you feeling? Because this is what we are as human beings. We are feeling
hmm,
vehicles,
yeah,
and it doesn't matter how, you want to live your life and do this and that. But what are you, because this is the most amazing thing that we can feel,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
come on, there's nothing better than feeling alive, feeling appreciative. Come on, there is nothing. I personally, I'm so grateful I can say that, because I
yeah.
know that
Hmm.
there's nothing greater than my own appreciation for being alive, because that's my heaven on
Yeah,
earth.
yeah,
It
yeah.
literally is. I don't care where I am. It doesn't matter. It's that feeling has is overwrites everything. It's like
Hmm.
a, you know, and
Yeah.
I'm grateful that it's becoming hopefully more of a default state of being, so that I can just, oh, go back, go back.
Yeah, yeah. Well, isn't that kind of amazing? So when we do stumble and fall, what
Mhm.
do? Just dust yourself off and take another
Yeah.
step, continue along your merry
Yeah.
way. And, and,
Mhm.
and that's why I call it a video game. Life has to have challenges, otherwise it wouldn't be the divine video game of life.
Mm-mm.
If everything went right 100% of the time, we would take
Mm-mm.
it for granted, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it would be boring
Yeah,
also.
yeah, 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 exactly. So yeah, and yet at the same time, that experience grows and grows. There'll never be this thing. You and I can meditate for 1 trillion years, and
Mhm.
after 1 trillion years, it's going to be like we've taken our first step. So there's never going to be a point where you can say, I know it, I mastered it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And yeah, I mean, that's, to me, that's our great fortune.
yeah,
That means we can continue.
exactly.
you know?
And being humble, for me, that's the most, it's like reading the Tao, the sun in the sky. It doesn't
Mhm.
say, hey, look at me, I'm shining on
Mhm.
you. The sun in
Mhm.
the sky just shines. The
Mhm.
the 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 water doesn't, say, hey, drink me, or look at me, I'm the
Mhm.
source of all life on earth. The water
Mhm.
just
I
flows.
know.
Yeah.
Great, man.
So anyway, I just want to, I'm glad, really glad that we had this.
Thank you. I
Yeah,
thank you for reaching out to me because it's just, I really, believe it or not, we're a part of each other. You know what I mean? In
yeah, yeah,
terms of
yeah. Definitely.
our
Yeah,
our sojourn with, Miraji all these years. There's no connection that I have with others like the ones that I have with people that have, especially the ones that we come from way back. For some reason, it just seems like those are the ones that I remember, the ones, not the new, not to discount the new premies or nothing like that, but I had a really unique connection with people back in those days that I
yeah,
can never forget for the rest of my life. I can never forget it because
yeah.
it had, because to me it was like those were the moments of foundation building that's developed my personality or my being the way I am today
Yeah.
because I always have these reminders of how beautiful life is with other people,
Hmm.
you know, that are having that joy, that are having that feeling. That was like life can be beautiful just like that.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
have to have a Rolls Royce and this and that. And then, it was just like just with humans experiencing being alive, enjoying their life. It's
Uh-huh.
amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing, you know.
So we're gonna have to stay in contact. It's been,
Okay.
yeah,
A great man. Anytime, just let me know because this has been really beautiful experience for me. Thank you so much for
okay. Yeah, yeah.
including me.
You're
Mhm.
welcome, and thank you for contributing. A lot of people I know are hesitant. To
Yeah,
yeah,
because that's like, oh, is he going to ask me about my personal this and I thought about. Believe me, I had my little not trepidation, but it was just like, I wonder what he wants to talk about. Da 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 and da 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 da. And it's been a while, but look at what happened, man. It's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
like Miraji says, half of the stuff that this imagination thing that we have going on,
yeah. Exactly,
you
exactly.
know, and it turned out to be really wonderful, man. I'm so grateful to talk to you today
Yeah.
because this is a connection that I really have always enjoyed in my life. It's with
Hmm.
another Premi that where we're both like having our own exuberance of experience, and
Yeah.
we were able to relay that back and forth, and it's just like what I say, exacerbates what you say, and what you say,
Yeah.
it's like
Exactly. Yeah.
exponential stuff happens there.
Uh-huh. And that's called true communication. You know,
Yeah,
back and forth, giving, receiving, giving, receiving.
yeah,
And that's what life is all about. Just like the
yeah,
breath
man.
gives and receives, gives and receives, gives and receives. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Whew, it's just I'm grateful, man. I'm very grateful to talk to you today because it's just I didn't know what to look forward to. I was very looking forward to this. I was plugged in. I was already trying to. I said I had to make sure everything was right, and terms of I said, well, okay, he gave me a messenger and I just got this laptop. So I'm just saying, okay, I didn't even know I had Messenger on my laptop. I thought I had to download it. But then what I did was I sent the link to my email. So that way, when I opened up my email on the laptop, I would have the Zoom
Oh,
link
okay. Oh, cool. Okay.
and the ID and everything. And then it turned out where I looked and I said, oh, I have Messenger. So I went right to that because for some reason it wasn't opening up at first because it was
Yeah.
waiting for the host. I said, so that left me in kind of like a limbo for a while, but I was real early. I'm very much a punctual type person. I don't
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah,
I don't like,
uh-huh.
yeah, you were on time. I'm just saying, to me, I'm like, I'm on time if I'm a half hour early.
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but thank you, man. I mean, I really appreciate you. And this has been a great conversation, dude.
Yeah.
Definitely,
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
mean, really, man,
So,
just continue enjoying.
so I'm posting this on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope you don't mind.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay, okay. Because
no.
what I'm trying to do is to instill, how do I say it? Storytelling. True,
Right.
and and the web that ties us all together. That's what I'm trying. I'm trying, and you're trying to make this world a better place. So,
Yeah.
and instead of doing flaming posts about the current politics of the day,
Oh no,
this and that,
man. I
so,
can't do that. That's not
yeah,
my platform.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly. So,
I back off.
yeah.
I digress when it comes to that stuff. It's just
And so in my book, Family and Friends, I have a section on John Sumerville. And so
okay.
that in the future, a person will open that, and then they'll be able to click on talk story with John Sumerville, and they'll be
Awesome.
able to see this conversation. So
Oh
they'll be
man.
able to say why I thought you were one of the happiest people, that they can now see for themselves, because a conversation, seeing someone and a conversation makes all the difference in the world, all the
Yeah.
difference.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
Especially one like this, bro. I swear I will remember this. This is very memorable. It's not like it's just not your everyday conversation.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
mine
yeah,
anyway.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it was my pleasure, that you accepted this, and I
Thank you.
knew there was some trepidation,
Mhm.
yeah, all that, but
Yeah.
this is the end result, how incredible.
Awesome. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that it turned out this way, bro. I mean, in terms of, come on. Who
Yeah,
could ask for anything more when it comes to talking with somebody?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But to share, because you shared from your heart and I shared from mine.
yeah, yeah,
And
exactly.
it's been very enlightening, in terms of, well, whatever, it has a cliche to it, but it feels good.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't
yeah,
really have to say nothing else. It
yeah, yeah.
feels good.
Uh-huh. And that's
Enlightening or not, it feels good.
like Prem saying, "What is a mango in less than a word?"
Right,
By eating
right.
the mango. So we just ate
Yeah.
the mango.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Keep on enjoying your life, bro. And keep on writing, dude. That's great. I was because I read all the ones that I saw, and I just never happened to see mine. And I'd say, I wonder if he's gonna ever write about me. I did wonder that, because just
Uh-huh.
on a spiritual ego thing, I guess. I don't know, whatever it is. But I just, I said, well, I wonder if he even knows and remembers me, because I did definitely remember you and your brother. That's the
Uh-huh.
thing about it. Some just like Hanali. I remember Hanali, of course. You
Uh-huh.
know who I saw? You remember Carol Ogawa, I think. I'm not sure her last name, but she was she was an Asian girl. She lived in the Harvard ashram.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Gosh, I haven't seen.
Guess where she is now?
Where?
She's in Australia. She lives in Australia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's where I ran into her. I ran into her at the Amaru session, and I kept remembering her from because she was one of the females in the house,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
were Asian. So I had a connection in that way, and I felt, and then we saw each other, and it was like nothing's changed. It's like me and you talking.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking, and it was like nothing. We were like,
Oh,
it was like nothing's changed about you're still the same being. We still have that connection. And that's all she wrote, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Uh-huh.
Amazing.
Well, once again, thanks.
Yeah,
This
man.
was
Thank
a
you,
wow.
bro. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure, dude. I'm telling you, this is
Uh-huh.
grateful. I'm very grateful.
So let's not wait another 50 years.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we get another 50,
Yeah.
wow. No, it's true. It's all you have to do is reach out to me, and I respond. I'm glad that I was able to, this time especially. you
Uh-huh.
know yeah, I got some work done on my bathroom. It had caught a little fire in on my electric socket, so I had to have it repainted, and people were sanding and this, and so I didn't want all that to be going on.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea.
That first time they were doing something, it was a lot of pounding and this and that, and I didn't want that to be interfering. So finally it got done. It looks great. And what was amazing, dude, I listen to Prem every single day, right? I have excerpts and music, and I have Kim singing and Daya singing and John Adurni, all these beautiful music, right? And one day he was painting, this is a few months back, he was painting the front of the house, and he happened to overhear Prem talking, and he said, "Man, who was that? Who was that?" He just came up to me. He said, "Man, whatever." He said, "That guy, what he was saying, oh my God, da 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 da." And he was a Mexican guy, so his English wasn't that great. But I felt him, and I gave him a little card. And he says, "Man, I want to share this with my wife," and da 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 da. So he did that, and then he came back yesterday, and he said, "You remember me?" He said, and I looked and I said, "Oh yeah, you're the guy." Da, 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 da. He said, "Yeah, man. What that guy say? Oh man, I get emotional when I hear his voice, and it's just blew my
Oh my
mind."
gosh! Oh, wow.
Because he's like, because I was listening to some more, so I knew he was in the bathroom, and my bedroom was next to it. So I said, "I'm gonna just watch a few videos, and hopefully he can enjoy." He said, "It's just something about his voice and da 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 and I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but it connected. Something resonated with him, and it was beyond language. It really was, because his English wasn't that good, but he recognized something. He said,
Yeah,
"This
yeah.
is something. This is something different." He said. Then you know what he said to me? He said, "Man, when I want to thank you, man, because when I come here, I feel you're blessing me. I feel like a blessing. This is a blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you." I said, "Man, you're a blessing. You don't know, because to see somebody respond, come on,
Yeah,
man,
yeah, I know. Yeah.
come on, it's out of this." It's nothing in this world that's like that. It's like you don't know what's gonna happen. Some people is like, "Oh, thanks, I'll get to it later," or
Uh-huh.
yeah, I want to spread, I want to help him spread this, and this is,
Yeah.
and the way it happened, it was just serendipity of it. It just was so perfect. Come
Wow.
on, come on. It's just like, wow, wow. This is,
Oh.
it made my day, man. It really did. That it,
Mhm.
in some way, it touched somebody else.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
Oh, most definitely. Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
it's the
gosh.
same way with today. It's like you touch me, I touch you. Come on, life can be this way. It doesn't have to be all complicated and crazy
No,
and
yeah.
filled with, arguments and da 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 da.
Hmm.
Nah,
Yeah.
nah, I'm good. I love peace.
True. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Me too.
yeah, yeah. You still
Okay.
have that laugh. You still have the same laugh, the same face when you laugh. I remember all these things. These are the things that I remember about you also,
Uh-huh.
I said, we always had this great laugh and smile type rapport, and it's still there.
It's
So
still,
it's
oh, yeah.
genuine, Come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's why I was looking forward to this because
yeah.
I know John Somerville, oh, gosh, yeah. And just by reading your posts, you can tell a state of mind by how they post on Facebook. You
Yeah,
can't hide it.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever, who is that? Whatever you think moment by moment, you become. And I
Mhm,
see, and so whatever you post on Facebook, you become.
mhm,
If you
mhm,
constantly flame, each other on
mhm,
both sides,
mhm,
that's
mhm.
what you're going to do. You're going to flame
Yeah,
each other.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so when I read your post, and to be honest, most of your posts is about the preciousness of this breath, which is incredible. Every time I see it, I go, all right, John, I can hear this 1,000 times, but each time it's brand new because each
Yeah,
moment is brand new. So, but I kind of jump up and down out of joy when I see that, because I know this is what the world needs, is to realize how precious it is that we're alive. So keep on doing that,
Yeah. Yeah, I try to I use Facebook as a platform for just to reach out to premies for some reason, but also to people that might not see it that way. But at the same time, I don't, like you say, I can't get into the politics. It's just not it's not my forte. Is my experience, and that's
Yeah.
what to me. And my experience is that, that
Yeah.
as much as I can remind, because most of the posts really are reminders to me.
Yeah.
These are my self-remind, because I'll read it over and I say, wow, I mean, because it's to remind me as well, because I'm still in the process. I'm not this enlightened wisdom. This is just to remind me as well.
Well, what's so incredible too is 50 years ago, what I post on Facebook now would be ridiculed. I have even Trump friends who are supporters who read my stuff. I imagine every day, for the past couple of months, I've done the Tao, I'm doing Kabbalah, I'm doing Jainism, I'm doing the kingdom of heaven lies inside, and yet I can post that, and none of my friends will write back and say, how dare you write about stuff like that? But now people who 50 years ago weren't interested in the slightest are now interested about going inside, because that's my main point. Is to look inside. You will never find any answer outside. It's only inside. So I'm trying to just show that there are different ways, different avenues, but it's all going in one place, inside.
Right.
Yeah.
I think people today, it's almost like because of the dynamics of what's going on, it does open up this, just like the perfect master comes when it's darkest, because it shows, he shines more, in terms of how what he's talking about, it just becomes more like, oh wow, I mean, it has a different effect. Just like now, I think a lot of people, they're searching, they were running around not knowing they were searching, or they're running around not realizing that there's an option, or looking for an option, because and for us, we understand it's not optional.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's not optional. It looks that way, but bottom line, it really isn't. And we're so fortunate. We understand that choice. We understand. That choice is so priceless. It's priceless.
All right. Well, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I love
to say goodbye, but
yeah. But yeah, we're definitely on the same wavelength. Surfing the wave of life. So I'm just honored.
Me too,
to. All right, John.
Yeah. Okay. Take care, man.
Okay. You too.
All right.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Stay safe. All right.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye, man.
Bye.